Hey, it's Paul from Model Builder International. Don't forget to subscribe to the video channel, and when you've done that, what we'll do is we'll talk about a 1/48 scale PZ11c from Mirage-Hobby. Photographs of the sole surviving example at the Polish Aviation Museum. And a bit of background, the P.11c was derived from the 11A, 11B, of which very few were made. The 11c introduced a new fuselage, the engine was moved slightly, the central part of the wings was also modified into the V that you see. Production started in 1934, 175 were produced. The first 50 were fitted with a slightly different engine. When it was introduced, its contemporaries were biplanes, such as the Gloucester Gauntlet and the Heinkel 51. So the PZL P11c was arguably the most advanced fighter in the world briefly when it came into service. However, should say Germany and France and the UK had more advanced aircraft in the prototype stage when the P11c came out, and it wasn't until 1939 that Poland had their next prototype ready, but it wasn't in time to see service in the war, so that the P11c was left to defend Poland, and by 1939 it was pretty much outclassed. However, it was still a very manoeuvrable aircraft and did pretty good, actually. It did very well considering. A few little facts for you. The first Allied aircraft shot down in the war was a P11c. The first Allied victories of the war were with a P11c, and the first successful ramming attack of the war was also a P11c. A few aircraft survived the invasion of Poland. One ended up in Latvia. I think the Russians ended up with that one. Some flew to Romania and were used for training after that. But overall, it was a very manoeuvrable aircraft, and it gave a good account of itself in combat. Okay, so let's have a look. So we're getting inside the box. So to start with, this is basically it's a rebox of Mirage's own 1/48 scale kit. As far as I can tell, it's pretty easily the best 1/48 scale kit of this aircraft available on the market. So if you want to do a P11, this is the kit to go for. So on the side, well, even on the top here, you can see there's antenna wire, painting masks, photo etch parts, while metal radiator, and a couple of metal figures as well. And it's got basically a Polish Air Force conceptual camouflage, which there's only, I think, a couple of photographs of the real thing, but they've done it in that. On the side here, pictures of what's inside. You can see it's a PE sheet, some masks, and that's it. So I'll open it up and have a look inside. First off, we've got the instructions, and there's the decals. Inside there's the PE sheet. I'll have a look at those in a second, and do the white metal parts. And that's looks like they're all bagged separately inside, attached to the instructions. There's the instructions. And see, we'll go through these, but there's the mass background of the aircraft. And opening it up, there's the instructions in this way around. It's pretty neat. What's that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 steps. So that looks quite nice. Colours at the bottom. We'll go through these step by step and have a close look at the parts. And on the back, that's the decal option. That's a photograph of the real aircraft with this sort of trial paint scheme. So that's pretty neat. And inside here, everything is bagged. We'll open this up and have a look. So inside we get, basically that's a link to Mirage-Hobby's Facebook page. It's pretty neat. And then we get 2 sprues. And looking at this, there's some very nice detail on recessed panel lines and the like on that. The attachment points are really fine. Nice detail on the fuselage halves there. And I can see there's cooling fins on the engine struts, part of the cage inside the fuselage and the cockpit. Lots of nice detail there. Some detail here, but we'll be adding more to it. Check the pin marks, but nobody's going to see those. They're all out the way. That looks nice. The engine's got some detail, a nice detail by the looks of it, which will look good since it's quite visible. And then on this one, again, this is underneath the wings. Again, lots of nice detail. A couple of points there where the struts attach. They're not recessed, so we'll just join straight on. So what you might end up doing is maybe pin those if you need to. Tail planes, small parts. There's some very nice detail on those parts, so they look nice. And there's the seat, which seems to have come off from there. This looks like the back of the cockpit. It's all in all very nice. The sprues are quite modern. I can't see any flash on here. There is some locating pins on the fuselage halves to help things line up. There's one down at the tail, there's one up there. None on the wings though, so you'll have to line things up carefully. But looks, the level of detail on the outside looks very nice though. Raised details on there. I should say those are correct. And it's all recessed panel lines on the top of the wings. That's very nicely done. That top of the wing looks quite impressive. As do the fuselage halves, they look really nice. So, let's go through the instructions. I'll have a close-up look at the parts. And let me just take this off here. And I'll open this up and we'll have a quick look at what's inside here. So what have we got in here? Okay, well there's the decal sheet to start with. And then we've got some antenna wire. We have one white metal figure. There's the other white metal figure. I think this is the pilot seated one. And we've got there's the masks. There's the photo etch fret. That way around. There's quite a few parts on there actually, small parts. And so that'll look nice. Then we've got a clear part canopy, and there's a white metal radiator. So it's looks like quite a nice little kit, nicely detailed. Let's have a close-up look at the parts and go through the instructions. And yeah, but so far it looks quite impressive. The kit consists of 49 plastic parts on 2 sprues that you can see here. There's also a clear part, decal sheet, 2 metal figures, a length of thread, a clear acetate instrument panel, 40 photo etch parts, which is quite a lot considering there's only 49 plastic parts, and then a white metal part and this instruction booklet which has some handy background information on the first page and some quick images of some of the parts. Step 1. For a change, we start by putting the engine together. The cylinder cooling vanes are nicely detailed on this, so it should look nice with some good painting. Quite a lot of this will be visible, so it's worth spending some time getting the painting right and make it look good. So it's a nice engine to start with. And then onto the cockpit with step 2, which consists of a couple of parts replicating the frame of the fuselage. And then we have a seat, cockpit floor, photo etch seat belts. There's also photo etch instruments to go on the sides. There's also a photo etch to go on the cockpit floor. So there's quite a fair bit of detail in here actually. So it should look very nice, and it is an open cockpit aircraft, so everything in here is going to be visible. So it's going to be worth spending some time getting it right. Step 3, and we're already putting the fuselage halves together. There's a couple of locating pins Not as many as you'd probably find on some other kits, but there's a couple there to make sure you get things lined up. If needs be, you can put some of your own little tabs inside just to make sure things line up properly. There's a acetate instruments that go behind a photo etch fret for the instrument panel. There's also quite a few photo etch pieces to go on the outside of the fuselage there. So it looks good. You should end up with quite a nice looking cockpit by the end of this. Step 4 puts the wings together. To start with, I thought there might be some sort of extra detail on here which wasn't supposed to be there, but looking at photographs of the last surviving example in a museum in Poland, which I've also put onto the website by the way, the detail seems to be absolutely spot on, exactly what it's supposed to be. In fact, it's very, very nice. With the wings, there's no locating pins or anything, so you'll have to be careful to make sure you get things lined up. You also have a choice of fitting 2 wing machine guns. Not all aircraft had them, but my guess is that Mirage-Hobby have done their research. And the early version, if you want to do an early version of this particular aircraft before the camouflage, you could do that by removing the guns. If you want to do the conceptual camouflage, then you need the guns fitted. Now step 5 is basically in the same block as step 6. Step 5 is just painting the white metal part. So we call that done and move on to step 6, where we attach the wings. Some pretty sturdy struts there. I noticed the attachment points, there's no recesses or pins or anything, so you might have to add your own pins or securely glue them. Also, the wheels go on at this stage, the engine's fitted, engine cowlings, the white metal radiator gets fitted, and some other small parts. You also have an option of adding underwing bombs as well, more photo etch parts for those as well. So yet more photo etch parts going onto the aircraft, which is a lot for such a small aircraft. Step 7 and step 8 is real simple. Basically putting the tail together, tail skid, add the canopy, a few more pieces of photo etch, seems to be the way. And step 8 is adding the radio antenna that they have supplied as part of the kit. So overall there's, so you can see the instructions are really nice, there's nice layout for things, and there's photo etch all over the place on this one. So it's going to look quite nice when it's all done. Paints are called out throughout the instructions. You'll see those, they're all the letters, all the letters inside circles throughout the steps. At the bottom of the sheet, all the colours are called out in Humbrol and Vallejo, and also named as well. Over the page we've got the decal and painting guide. There's one option basically, because that was only the one aircraft that had the conceptual camouflage scheme, and a photograph of it after it was shot down. Decals themselves look good, they're produced by Mirage-Hobby. You might be able to trim a little bit around the numbers, the big numbers, but that's about all. Other than that, it looks really good. There's plenty of enough information here to paint the camouflage scheme without too much trouble as well. So an overall conclusion, Mirage-Hobby have cornered the market on PZL P.11cs in 1/48 scale. This is the most recent and the best set of sprues available right now. They've gone an extra step here and given you some extras, especially 40 pieces of photo etch will add quite a bit of detail to what is already some pretty nicely detailed plastic. And you've got the white metal parts, you've got aerial wire as well. So they've given you everything you need. It's the one-off camouflage scheme, so if you do happen to have a collection of P.11cs, this one's going to look different to all the rest rather than just different numbers. Well, it's a really nice kit. Should be a pretty straightforward build. It'll be a good interim build between, should we say, the kits that just fold together and ones that need an awful lot of work. This one's not that many parts, introduces a bit of photo etch. You have to do a little bit of work for yourself, but it's going to end up as a really nice kit. Many thanks to Mirage-Hobby for sending it along for us to have a look at. and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.